Welcome, jesters. Okay, the Hefe list. Let's just call it that. I think you all know what I'm talking about. The drama continues. First, let's just make one thing very, very clear. Donald Trump is not on the list, is not in the files, and there is no connection between Hefe and Donald other than the flight logs that we already know about, which was very common among the Palm Beach elite at the time. So there is literally nothing there. If there was, they would not have had to make up the Steele dossier or anything like that. So just stop that. It's not a thing. All right, friends on the left, you're just... Well, actually, no, keep barking up that tree. Please, stay distracted. Keep barking up that tree, okay? Second, I think I was right. I think I was actually more right than a lot of people in that there is no client list. Again, just to repeat, I have never run an international criminal conspiracy, but if I did, especially the kind that Hefe was running, I wouldn't need to keep a client list. There's no need for them to have a client list. Bill Clinton does not need a client number. Prince Andrew does not need a client number. And I'm sure this was all very, very transactional, either cash or favors or for an agency. And again, it's you pay up front, right? So either the cash shows up or the favor is done, then you get access. If not, you don't. So there was no reason to keep an accounts receivable list, right? It's all, it is pay to play, no pay, that's it. So why would they bother to keep any of those records, right? They're going to know everybody, and they're going to know when the money or the favor is done. So what does that mean? Again, in the last video, I explained that I genuinely think that Team Trump, all of them were blindsided by what they found. It was not what they expected. They might have believed some of the hype that was going around, maybe some of the hype that was fed to them by the previous administration, and thought they were going to go and find this huge trove of incriminating evidence against deep state players and foreign, assets and everything like that. And what they found was, Party City receipts for legitimate fundraisers, payment records for the cleaning crew on the island, but just employment records, right? Maintenance records for the aircraft, just random stuff like that. Things that Hefe was allowed to keep. Because I think they found the conspiracy is a lot bigger than they thought, involving all sorts of players that really don't want anything out there, but also smaller than they thought in terms of the evidence that was available to them. If you look at what happened with Ghislaine in her trial, there was only 4 witnesses. I don't know what to make of that, but I would hope that the DOJ could have gotten more testimony, but only 4? I don't know. I mean, in a weird way, that's good. Maybe the scope was smaller than we thought. I don't think so. But still, maybe they just legitimately did not find enough to do what everyone expects of them. And let's also be realistic here. If Hefe was working for a number of these different agencies around the world, do you really think they would have let him keep the evidence? That's why I say all the paperwork that they have is stuff that they let him keep. Nothing incriminating. So they asked him to do a favor. They brought someone to the island. They wanted that leverage, that blackmail. And it wouldn't be Epstein that was, oh my God, it wouldn't be Hefe that was blackmailing anybody, right? Right? You think they're going to let him keep the evidence? No. These agencies, they did their job. They got what they wanted, and then they took the evidence. So the fact that there is no evidence means, actually, it kind of does mean that a lot of these agencies were involved. And that puts Team Trump in a rather sticky situation. And it's from South Park, right? Yeah, what are they going to do? Are they going to expose this mess and legitimately risk destabilizing governments and agencies around the world, including perhaps even their own, right? I don't know. I imagine yourself in their position, and even if there is evidence, even if there are actionable things, even if they are working on it, let's bring some perspective. It took Rudy Giuliani, right, in his heyday, in the Southern District of Manhattan, 4 years to develop the cases against the mob. And that was just the mob in New York. 4 years to develop that case. Do you think Pam is going to be able to develop an airtight case against the deep state operatives in 3 months? No. No, absolutely not. Even if she had a team working in secret on that right now, they probably won't have anything actionable for 2 or 3 years. That's just how it works, guys. So give her some time. Really. I mean, put it this way. There are no flight logs to the island. Everybody talks about the flight logs, but there's no flight logs to the island. So how do they even know who was there? Right? They don't. They might not know. There might not be any records of this, even on Pam's desk. I think that's just the reality of it. These things take time, right? Give her time. Pam is not going anywhere. The president has already stood up for her, and I think that was the right thing to do. Nobody's resigning. Nobody's getting fired. I think she's doing an excellent job on every other front. And to be honest, I do legitimately think that the president is kind of annoyed by how fixated people are on this, especially their demand for, well, you know what? I'm just going to say it right now, an unreasonably quick end to this whole debacle. I think everybody just calm down and chill, and let's see how this plays out. Call me fanboy. I don't care. I don't care. So far, Team Trump has done nothing to disappoint me. They have done nothing that calls their judgment into question, and I would rather they focus on the things that they are actively working on right now over something that was tragic. It is wrong. People do need to be brought to justice, but that's just one thing that they are focusing on. And I think Pam's efforts and Cash and Dan and everybody else, I think they need to focus on a lot of other things. Pam, you are safe. You are safe for now, of course. Of course, keep doing the good work. Okay, instead of worrying about this, you know what, Pam? You know what I think you should focus on? Very, very simple. Just a few small things, really. If you could just take care of these, ending birthright citizenship. How about that? Deporting Ilhan Omar. Yeah, how about that? Arresting Antifa. That actually should be pretty easy. Investigating Big Pharma for mutilating gay kids. Or seizing the corrupt NGOs. There you go. Then, of course, prosecuting Act Blue. Because on the grand scheme of things, while the Hefe list might take out a few deep state actors and, I know, actually might take out some real actors and, oh, there you go, Pam. Celebrities. I'm sure there's some inconsequential celebrities you could convict. Get real easy convictions. There you go. We'll have a real Roman Colosseum type thing. But I think you need to focus on these other priorities because while the Hefe list might take out a few deep state actors, we're going to be able to do a lot more once we take out their money. You know I'm right.